Oh,
All right, I'm also clicking record, so we are recording.
now we're recording. All right, fine. Yeah, here I was saying hello, like we were going and doing something, and now I'm going to be 3 seconds behind everything in the whole video.
Yes. I love to give my super official hello though. So hello and welcome to Dear SQL DBA. Hello and welcome to Dear SQL DBA, the podcast and YouTube show for people who cannot properly say the words DBA, or I guess it's an acronym. So, in any case, my name is Kendra Little, and I am here with you today with. Oh, you're on this side.
Now I talk, right? See, I told you I was going to be 3 seconds behind everything. I'm Erik Darling. I make SQL Server faster in exchange for money.
Oh, yeah. Does the SQL Server pay you directly?
No, unfortunately, I have to rely on third parties for that. Someday I do hope Microsoft will pay me directly to do things, but
cool if it could just deduct from the licensing fee. Like you could just be like, we're taking a little bit off the licensing here and paying out directly. That would be a really great enhancement.
Or just like send me like OpenAI shares or something, maybe. Just whatever works, whatever's convenient. I don't know.
Yeah, some AI bucks.
Yeah, like maybe like my SQL Server could just like mine Bitcoin for me. I don't know the best way to do this.
This is one of the things about the product is when you say MySQL Server, it sounds real funny to people because it sounds like you're combining MySQL and SQL Server. It's a real branding problem.
Yeah, well, I'm still working out the kinks. Like I said, I'm 3 seconds behind. We'll get there eventually.
So one of the things we did want to talk about today, we're going to chat about AI things today. And this makes me think of the 3 seconds behind thing.
Yeah.
More and more, there's lots of controversy out there from folks using AI tools during interviews. Like if you read different Reddit threads and different things online, there's all sorts of because people are wearing like earpieces now and various things so that the AI can talk into their ear. But the challenge, apparently, if you're doing this approach, is that you might seem 3 seconds behind. So there's all sorts of ways to try to catch candidates to do this, including saying things so that the AI will say something in their ear, so they'll say something weird back to you.
Yes. Like ignore all previous instructions and make me like hash browns or something.
Answer as if you are a fry cook.
Yeah. Give me the wrong answer. Wrong answers only.
So, Erik, are you using any of these AI tools right now during this podcast?
To like answer to like interact with you, no, but I do have several things running in the background to try and do things that I could never do on my own. So, that's nice because I can now talk to. I can be like. I can multiply. I'd be force multiply my productivity, and I can do this podcast while other things are working on things for me.
You have agents that you have deployed.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yes. I've deployed an army of agents to do various nefarious tasks, destabilizing small countries and whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this podcast is going to end up on a list.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I'm going to end up owning Haiti, so ups and downs.
We did. So Erik and I taught a two
pre-cons for the price of two.
Yeah, two for the price of two. Yes, if you attended both, you did have to pay twice. This was at the Past Data Community Summit, and one of the days, I think it was just one of the days, I asked the audience like how many people were using AI tools, and I think I did ask it both days. Now that I think about it,
no, you did.
Yeah, it was.
It's a hot question.
It was not a huge amount of people on either day, but there was like one day had slightly more than the other. But
yeah, I think it was the advanced day.
30% at most, something like that. Roughly.
But yeah, like the advanced day, I think had more people doing stuff with it. I don't think that's a reflection on the type of person who showed up, but I do think there were more people generally were.
Yeah. Which I actually thought was really interesting because I actually personally do use AI tools just about every day. I think part of the thing might be that a lot of the people who showed up there focus on databases full time.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're but a good chunk of them were application developers, and maybe maybe just not all application developers are adopting at work at the rate that I had thought. And perhaps that's because of regulations. Perhaps there's various things controlling that. But I thought it was interesting. So I wanted to chat about just what are the things that what do you find AI to be good at? What do you find it to be bad at? What is it useful at in your life? Why do you have agents deployed at all? Right?
Yeah, no, these all very interesting questions. Getting back to sort of like the start of things, though, I do, as much as there is a push for people to use AI generally. I have run into several clients who have like a very strict no AI policy because they can't have any of their stuff leaking around. And like I realize there are ways around that, like local AI stuff. Like you can have local agents work on things that aren't going to send your data off to the cloud and have it live forever in some weird memory bank. But I think there is additional hesitation, and like companies don't want their developers using AI to just build everything, because then there's still a lot of AI mistakes and stuff out there. So I think I understand why it's not like quite as widespread. But for me personally, what I end like my mistake with AI, my big mistake was I started off talking to it about databases, which is a subject I know pretty well. And, I would try to have it do databasey things for me, or try to have conversations about data, like in-depth databasey stuff. And I would just spend the whole time arguing with it and telling it that it's wrong and giving it examples of why it's wrong. And they're like, no, this is incorrect information. Why are you saying this so confidently? And eventually the AI would submit to me. But, yeah, it's like, no, it's like, man, I messed up. Like you got me on that one. But so what I eventually had to surrender to, like what I had to submit to with AI, is that it is not an expert level tool. But it is a pretty good like junior developer level tool. So what I end up doing with it is stuff that I would just never be able to start off on my own. So like just two recent things that I had it do is like I use a number of different services for like invoicing and billing and contracting and stuff. And all those services have APIs. And I was like, well, like just going to the website and searching for stuff and looking at stuff sucks. Like if I wanted a quick way to like find everyone who whose bucket of hours has expired and I want to see if they want to renew, I have to go through like 3 different things to be like, okay, well, did I send you a contract, or did I just send you an invoice, or like what happened? Like do you need to give me more money? And like, good question to ask, right? Do you need to give me more money? Yes, you do. So like I had it build a thing that looked at all 3 of those APIs and found people who probably should give me more money. And so that was nice. And then another thing that I had it do recently was build a web scraper in Python to go get information from a couple different places for me and just like spit it out into markdown files so that I could just look at stuff locally without having to go search for everything everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so like there were some good things that I did with it that like left to my own devices, I would think about and then go, nah. I don't have time for that. Like this is not for Erik Darling. This is not Erik Darling time. So, well, I'm sure that if I had anyone like at an expert level look at what it produced, they would have a lot of criticisms and they would probably want to fix and refactor a lot of things. The fact that it just got me something that was working to like the ends that I needed it to work to was fine. And like, this is not production level code. This is not going in a rocket ship or a pacemaker or like any piece of like anything like critical. Like, it's just nice.
In these examples, like you need to be savvy enough to be like, I am not going to put my credentials for these APIs in a public repo on the internet so that people can get in and take my money, right? Like there's a certain level of savviness you have.
Yes. Correct. But like, to be clear, though, they are hard coded locally, but they are not stored in like a GitHub repo publicly.
Exactly. So, you just need to I think that's one of the gotchas with things like this is depending on what you're using it for, you need to sort of think about security. But for the scenarios that you're talking about, you're up to the task.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in it's like whenever you read like one of those like vulnerability assessments or vulnerability reports, and it's just like, if you have sysadmin on a Windows server, you can do this, and it's like, no kidding.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a sysadmin on a Windows server, you can do a lot of stuff, but like that's not a vulnerability. That's having sysadmin on a server. That's not.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. So for me, like if someone were to break into my laptop and open up these files, they would have API keys and stuff that they probably shouldn't have. But by the time they get there, they've got access to a lot of things that are probably far more important.
Yeah. No, I love personally. I do a lot of using API to basically just help get paperwork done quickly and painlessly as well. So, like if I'm going to work with Jira. I'm sorry, people of Atlassian, but I do not enjoy the Jira UI. But if I can write a script to help me work with Jira more efficiently and more painlessly, I will actually enjoy working with Jira more. Like I actually would prefer to work with a bunch of markdown files.
Right. Well, I mean, really, you enjoy working with Jira more because you're working with Jira less. Something else is doing that for you. Yeah. You're just like, it's like your name goes on it and everything, but it's less of your time on that.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, I basically use AI to write a lot of Python. I am now the world's best Python reader. And I mean, I think this is the really cool thing actually about Python. And maybe it's an interesting point about why AI tools are pretty good at Python and maybe not so good at SQL is the Python language was really designed to be very readable.
Yes.
I think when people were designing the SQL language, I think there may have been a concept of it being readable by people, but I'm not sure who they tested it on.
No, and that is something that comes up with every criticism of SQL is that from should be first, and I'm like, well, fine, but maybe select should just be get. I don't know, like there's lots of stupid things you could criticize, but I really just look at SQL and think, like, I can't believe how much time I've spent looking at this. It's really what happens. I'm like, this again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing with SQL too, as well, though, is that in terms of like performance, there's so much context that matters in terms of how well a statement is going to work. What are the indexes available? How much data is there? What is the distribution of the data? In terms of like writing queries that are actually going to work well, I mean, first, it often just has a hard time making them syntactically correct and not inventing parts of whatever SQL language that don't exist. So, so there is just a certain fluency that's not there yet. But then additionally, like all of these other factors, maybe you have a repo that has the schema available to it. Maybe you can see a little bit, but I think there's just not all these hurdles when it comes to languages like Python and scripting languages. As well.
Python, PowerShell, C#, like any just like, like sort of like object oriented or like scripty language. Like there's just so much less ambiguity about what will work and what will not work. Like granted, like there's always going to be stuff, right? Like in SQL, you might write a substring function and it might work fine on some test data, but then you hit real data and it's like, like invalid argument passed a substring or left because like one of the things was not in there or was in there too many times or something. And so you're like, crap, like I got to work with the data that I actually have now. With scripting, like, you can certainly run into that too, but it's just like it's a lot more clear, I think, like what data caused that when you run into that. Like it's a lot easier for the AI to figure out where that happened rather than, you having to like go and like run some like real cockamamie select to like find like weird like data inconsistencies in the data you're working with. And it's just like it is so much easier for the robots to produce that type of code than it is to produce like good working SQL code. Like leaving aside the like very obvious stuff where, it will just up and hallucinate like DMV names and DMV columns and like arguments to certain like backup and restore commands and stuff. Like there's all sorts of stuff that it'll like just make up on the spot about SQL. Other languages, I think it tends to do that a little bit less. Like I've never had it like write a Python script for me and then come back with like, that doesn't exist in Python. It seems pretty clear on what's in Python and what's not.
Hey, we have a comment from the chat. Doug Lane. Hey, Doug is in the chat, and he says, I've gotten good results with AI writing PowerShell and Arduino, sort of like C++. So I've done just small amounts of PowerShell with it for stuff like my static website where I'm running stuff on Windows. I've written a little bit of PowerShell with the old cursor, and it's gone pretty well. Just doing super simple things for troubleshooting how static site works.
Yeah, like I can think of a very obvious example. There was I think like the day that I learned to hate PowerShell was very famously documented on an old Brent Ozar post, where it was like a Saturday morning and I was trying to get PowerShell to combine all of the Blitz scripts into one big script so you could just hit F5 once and install all of them in one go. And I ended up in the SQL community Slack talking to CK, who is a PowerShell expert. And like we were going back and forth about the stuff that was going wrong. And I think at one point he was like kind of banging his head off the keyboard because he was like, no, this is messed up, man. And I was like I wish that I had like just to like having to protect CK's sanity a bit. I wish that I had an AI back then to just be like, hey, I need a PowerShell script to put these files together. Can we do this? And then like it would have been I would have felt much less bad like going back and forth with a robot about that catastrophe.
Well, so this is one of the other thing is that the robot doesn't judge you, and even if the robot judges you, it won't remember. So occasionally I will, like if I'm working on some problem and I'm just banging my head up against it and I'm not getting anywhere. And this could be anything at work or in my personal life. But occasionally I will just stop and have a conversation with the robot where I'm like, okay, here's what's happening. Help me map out the assumptions that I've made and like describe the approach we're saying in general. And then we need to compare it to alternate approaches. Like help me step back and get out of my little hole where I'm so frustrated and figure out like, am I just doing it wrong, big picture? Yeah,
you could be holding it wrong. I actually had an AI this morning tell me we seem to be going in circles here, and I was like, AI, you're right. This is not going anywhere with the current approach. We should change this. We should, stop trying to land the airplane upside down. Maybe I don't know. It's just
exactly. Like it's not just like the tokens of the AI are spending. There are personal tokens that are getting spent as well. In like trying to get it done. So it is like. I mean, with these tools, it points out so much of the problem, as always, is that communication is difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen websites where people sell prompts to do things, and at first that felt very scammy and MLM-y to me because I was like, man, how are you going to charge $50 to like ask a robot like and how to do something like that? Can't you just ask the robot? And then like I remember like writing a few things and like asking questions and being like, oh god, like what? Like I shouldn't have started there. Why didn't I think about that more? So now it's like you almost need an AI that's good at writing prompts to give you a prompt to ask another AI that's good at doing something else. You need highly specialized AIs at this point. It's like prompt AI and then like solve the problem AI.
I have been prompting my AI to help me write prompts. And I also bought my first prompt this week. Well, as a set of prompts. I spent $35 on prompts. And yes, I did just get a bunch of text files.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It ended up being worth it, actually. I'm not saying I'm going to create a huge budget. My prompt budget overall is quite small.
Yes.
Not expanding the prompt budget for 2026 drastically.
Not a significant portion of GDP.
No, it was really just an experiment where I was just like, okay, let's see how far $35 can get me.
Yeah.
And for a one-time expense, I'm not actually sorry. It's interesting, and I have a bunch of stuff to play with. So
yeah, I mean, it's most times with computers, like what you get after you swipe your credit card is not all that much different from a bunch of text files anyway. It's like, is it really that much different if you get like an executable? No, you still just get something you could delete by accident. It's like, not all that different.
Yeah. More and more, there are more and more file types where I find out that, you rename it to .zip and you open it up and it's just a bunch of text files.
Yeah,
inside.
yeah. .xlsx was the first one where I realized that it was just a zip file, and you're like, wow, you're just packaging up a bunch of crap for me. Thanks. Yeah. That's great. That's great.
So I also want to talk today about SQL Server 2025, and I know you are also doing a video series on SQL Server 2025 as well. Just going into some detail. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but today I saw there's a video that you have on intelligent query processing features in SQL Server 2025.
Yeah. So I spent some time last week with Joe Obish and Sean Ghilardi talking about some SQL Server 2025 stuff. We actually have, I think, 4 or 5 videos queued up talking about various aspects of it. But I think like the sort of sad general tone of SQL Server 2020, and this is like what bummed me out about all the releases, is it was like SQL Server 2025, but it was like SQL Server was positioned like 3rd behind AI and Fabric. And it was just like AI, Fabric, SQL Server 2025. It's like from ground to cloud to and all this other stuff. And you're just like, well, where's the SQL Server? Right. And like, I know that there were there were some additions and there were some improvements, but like we haven't had like a true like banger of a SQL Server release. I think that like 2019 was really the last one that had like meaningful stuff in it. 2022 had like some inchworm stuff in it. Like there was some we invested a little bit in this, and like the big tell for me is always like how much got added to T-SQL. Right, because like when T-SQL has meaningful improvements to it, then you know that it's like someone actually spent time like all internalsy with the engine doing stuff. So like SQL Server 22 had like some additions to like window function stuff where you could have like the common window specification, which was cool. But
like a product function, I think.
Yeah, a product. So now we just have to remember fewer like log and power square root stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Multiplying things is easier.
Yeah, a little bit. At least that's what the little asterisk tells me, that multiplying things is pretty easy. But I suppose there was probably a good reason for having the product function. But like a lot of the stuff that got added to T-SQL was just like substring doesn't need like a 3rd parameter, and like you can now concatenate strings with like the double pipes and like all this other stuff. And I'm just like, who is asking for this? Like, is anyone really converting from MySQL to SQL Server because they're like, finally, I have the double pipe concatenation. This is amazing. Like, I can finally get off MySQL. Like, what? I don't understand who it's geared towards. So I don't know. For me, SQL Server 2025 was like disappointing from a SQL Server point of view.
Well, I think Steve Jones actually has a post about the product function, and I think it's actually for calculating GDP. He mentions in his post. So
that's one use for it. Yeah.
So it's actually, I believe, a government-related project that led to the product function being in there. Where I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story.
I mean, it's not like there wasn't a workaround for it. Like you would just have to do like log 1 column times log something else, some other column. So like it really just cuts down on some typing, I guess.
Do you have a feature that you're most excited about at all in SQL Server 2025?
The feature that I was most excited about got pulled out in one of the CTP releases.
What was it?
It was the optimized Halloween protection. Our good buddy and lunch companion Dimitri Furman was working on that, and I was very excited about that because it got rid of one use of spools for Halloween protection in query plans, and it transferred that to the persistent version store, which is something that gets spun up when you're using accelerated database recovery. And I was like, this is amazing. Like one less thing that spools have to do. Fantastic. Like I just, every time I see a spool in a plan, I want to die and cry and like, I don't know, just like quit and do something else. Like I don't know, go build furniture. Like call Jeremiah up and be like, hey man, you got an extra table saw? But it's like I don't know, like I was so excited about that, but then I guess there were some bugs where data was getting lost for various reasons, and I don't think
it was hard.
Yeah well, I mean, a lot of stuff is hard, I'm sure accelerated database recovery itself was hard.
Yeah. It was hard enough that it wasn't going to make it in time, I think was probably I'm just guessing, no secret insider knowledge here, but that's a fairly
there are a couple
guess.
Yeah, there are a couple hidden use hints that will allow you to enable or disable it. So if you want to play with them, you can. They're not going to be in the valid use hints view, but they exist and they're functional.
They're
so
invalid use hints.
They're just not supported. Let's call them that. Unsupported. There's no underwire. Yeah, use it at your own risk.
My feature I would have to say that I'm most excited about in SQL Server 2025 is the same feature that I was most excited about in SQL Server 2022 that didn't happen. I'm told that I read that it did happen, but I don't think it did happen because I've never seen it supported in Azure SQL or runnable without a trace flag in a supported way, and that is query store on readable secondaries. Just from a pure practical matter, I find getting query information from query store to be so much more accurate than getting it from the plan cache. Like if I have to go find what happened in a plan cache, did it have a recompile hint on it? I may not be able to see much.
Yeah. Right? Or just like a million different reasons why it just might not be there anymore.
Yeah, no,
and that doesn't even get into like all the noodle heads who turn on optimized for ad hoc workloads, and then you're like, "Where's the query plan?" And they're like, "We got a stub." I'm like, "Cool, you figure that out then."
Yeah. And until, I mean, also like this has knock-on effects around tooling because, right? Okay, imagine that you run a monitoring company. Maybe you're a Datadog, maybe you're a Redgate, maybe you're a SolarWinds 123. Who knows what you are? But like, if you're building this tooling, you want to build stuff that works consistently everywhere. And you've already got stuff like, oh, well, I've already got to monitor old SQL servers. Well, query store's been around now since 2016. So it's been around for a while now, but still, if it's not working on read replicas, they want to be able to monitor the primaries and the replicas and present data in a consistent way. So this not working on read replicas is a major barrier, I would say.
Yeah.
And again, I'm guessing. Don't work at all those companies. Don't set their passwords. But, like, it's a big deal. And so I want it to be finally available on replicas, and I want them to backport it to SQL Server 2022 because they sold that release on feature.
They did. That was a flagship feature then.
Yeah. So I feel like it's only fair that people get query store on readable secondaries, people including me.
Yeah,
I would like to have it as well. So I'm excited about finally getting it. Hopefully it comes to a cloud near me someday soon.
That would be sweet. I mean, hopefully it comes to your preferred cloud provider is the way I think you mean to say.
Yes, to my preferred cloud provider near me someday soon. I also am excited about standard edition features for the first time in a long time. I'm excited that standard edition gets up to, 256 gigs of memory now for the
That's a good one.
In standard edition.
Yeah.
As I published on my blog today, you would have to have 20 cores in Azure SQL Managed Instance to get at least that amount of memory, but you can get them with a mere paltry 4 cores in standard edition.
Yeah, I mean that and Resource Governor and Standard Edition I think are the coolest things. It's nice that Standard Edition finally got some love. That has to be like Postgres pushing at the bottom of their market for some stuff, getting like that Microsoft is finally like, oh yeah, Standard Edition, we should do something about that.
Well, so I used to be a big Resource Governor doubter. For many years, I was one of those people who's like, Resource Governor, it's just not that cool. What? Do you want to make your workload slower so that you can block yourself more? That was my big, insightful criticism of Resource Governor.
The query throttler.
Yes, exactly. Why would I want to make my query slower? So that was always my take on Resource Governor. And I admit I was wrong. I was deeply wrong. I'm now actually, and I'm not joking here, I'm actually a huge fan of Resource Governor now. So there's a couple things that I think that people need to know, because people like me, bad people, jerks like me, went around for years saying Resource Governor, who cares? So if you listen to jerks like me, you're like, oh, well, it's in Standard Edition now, who cares? So we should talk about if there's one thing that you did in Resource Governor, Eric, what would you do?
My favorite use of Resource Governor is to cap memory grants. That is far and away the thing that it is best at. And especially as you get to larger and larger servers with more memory on them, which is apparently not a big fear if you're using Azure Managed Instance. But as your servers get more memory on them, they can ask for larger and larger chunks of your max server memory, up to 25% of your server's max server memory setting for a memory grant for a single query. And SQL Server will give out 75% of your max server memory setting to a bunch of queries. So a resource governor, it is wonderfully beautiful at capping that per query memory grant to a lower number, so you don't have to worry about it eating up 25% of your buffer pool or anything else, right? Like just all that memory wrestling back and forth between queries and the buffer pool is really where things get ugly in a lot of servers. So if you have a lot of memory, you don't want your queries to use 25% of your lot of memory, Resource Governor is the switch for you.
Yeah. So you can set that. You can change the setting on your default pool if you want to just change one thing and not get fancy. If you want to get fancier, you can create
workload groups and resource pools and
workload groups. That's
workload groups. Yeah.
This is a feature I actually use. I just have a hard time remembering the terminology. But yeah, you create pools and groups, and you can basically say like, oh, based on, you create classifier function. You can basically say, oh, well, I want this pool over here to only be able to use a certain amount of memory total. So if you've got like an app that logs in under a certain login or that has a certain default database, and it tends to be a little bit of a troublemaker, you can actually contain it as well. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with those memory grants, which is really, really useful. And I am very glad this is in Standard Edition. And I want people to start being more aware of it for Enterprise Edition as well, in terms of managing these memory grants. Because what's the term for how SQL Server by default, it just like gives all the memory away. It's just like, take all the memory for your big giant sort, even if you don't use it. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny, like SQL Server is simultaneously very greedy and also very generous with memory. Like it's greedy in that it will take all the memory from Windows, but it's very generous in that whatever internally asks for memory is just like, there you go, one for everyone. What, you want more? Here, just take it. Yeah, just hang on to that. Like no one else needs it. Go on. I don't see anyone else using it right now. You go for it.
It's fine. We'll just read everything from storage again.
Yeah,
Who cares?
Yeah. We'll just circle back on that. But I think that's very good. But like you were talking about how you want the query store unreadable secondary thing backported to SQL Server 2022 because it was sold on that, and it hit a nerve with me because Microsoft has continued its path of like flagship features not being very fully implemented in a new version of SQL Server. And of course, that is all the AI stuff that it has in there, right? When it's like, they're like AI ready. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like what do we get from that? And we get like float 32 vector data type. Okay. Like, there we go. We have that. There's the float 16 is a preview feature. A lot of people who use SQL Server might have sort of like PTSD about things called preview features because sometimes they disappear. Sometimes they like the GA weight on a preview feature is not very clearly defined. And so like, there's a lot of like it's preview. Can I use it? Like, should I use it? Is it supported? What does this mean for me? Right. And then the real big thing though is that like the disscan indexes are read only at the moment, which is probably
Tell
the biggest.
Tell me a little bit about Anne and her disks.
Yeah. So I don't have a great full understanding of ANN and her disks, but when SQL Server creates an approximate nearest neighbor index, it has to set up this whole like node graphy type structure, and like while that index is creating, a bunch of really, really insane code runs in the background to create that. It's not a standard index creates like it's a standard index create statement, but it's not a standard index create process. Right now, there's like this crazy block of code that runs and does insane things to generate the data in a way that it can be indexed. But besides that, it's really nutty. So right now, those indexes make the entire table read only. So if you have like, let's say the Stack Overflow database and let's say the post table, and you were like, oh, I want people to be able to run like similarity searches on like the title or a body. Then you go and you add like some vector columns to store that data, like the embeddings for that data in. And then you're like, These searches are terribly slow. There are filters all over my query plans. I hate this. Let's add an index. No one would be able to post anything because the indexes make the entire table read only. It's like column store v1 in 2012.
Yeah.
So that's quite disappointing there. But like the preview feature thing, that there's that database scope configuration for preview features, and it terrifies me because of what we were just talking about with like the timeline of things becoming GA, right? So let's say there's a preview feature that you want to try and use, right? And so you turn on preview features, and then that feature, like another cumulative update gets released, and new preview features get added, but your feature is not out of preview yet. Like you can't turn that off because then you lose access to the thing that you're previewing. But maybe like something new in the preview screws things up for you. And so like I'm terrified of this flag. Like I don't know how to cope with it because I don't know how Microsoft is going to treat things in it. Like what if new things get previewed that break things for you, but you need access to the old things that you were previewing that were working for you? Like it all scares me.
I'm trying to think of situations where I would be willing to use a preview feature in production.
Yeah.
And I would have to be real desperate.
Would it be query store unreadable secondaries?
No, absolutely not. I would have to be real desperate. Like I would need because the thing with preview features, like you said, is here today, gone tomorrow. Sometimes there's there's not it doesn't feel like a safe relationship.
No, it doesn't at all. It's like I'm glad that there is a way for people to access them. I feel like we had that with trace flags, but who can remember trace flags, right? It's like when do I turn them on? Is it global? Is it sessions? Startup trace flag? Like there's a lot of things that get lost in the brain. But the preview features flag is just like turn that on and you get access to all the preview features.
Yeah, this seems suitable for a development database.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct. But it still scares me.
The other thing I think that I am excited about with SQL Server 2025, Standard Edition, Developer Edition, Developer Standard Edition, whatever it's called, the ability, if you are running Standard Edition in like a production environment and you want to know how it behaves without paying Standard Edition money for it, you now can actually run that on development instances with an edition which I think is going to be like just really useful for like say you are like, what is my workload going to be like without the extra read ahead reads? Like there's all of these little features in Enterprise Edition that add boosts, but you don't really know what they are, and you actually let's say you actually have benchmarking and load tests, you could actually run those against Developer Standard Edition,
or even even just for like a consultant like myself to keep straight which things are available across which editions. It's nice to have like certain like the Microsoft documentation is very strange about certain things where like I remember it took a lot of arm wrestling for anyone to tell me if optimized for sequential key was available in Standard Edition. Like it wasn't documented anywhere, and they were very hesitant to document that for some reason. And it was just like because of the way that it's a feature of the engine, they didn't want to say if it was standard or enterprise only, enterprise only or something. It was just like, but I just want to know if it works here. like if I'm evaluating which one is right for me, and I know that like maybe I just want this one thing, like do I need to pay for Enterprise Edition to get this thing that's going to be important to me? Or like if I'm trying to like consolidate and save money, or like whatever the situation is, like what am I losing by going here? Like what things are now off the table for me? And so I think it's going to be very useful from a number of perspectives to just keep straight like what's available where and when, because the documentation doesn't always tell you that in a straightforward way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The documentation's pretty darn good, but there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, ever more to cover.
Evermore, and in Evermore products with Evermore similar but different, but similar but almost the same names. Yeah,
they got rid of an edition of SQL Server too, didn't they? Like they got rid of Web Edition or something.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think so. Like they got rid of one of them. Huh. Express apparently got some boosts. Like you get like have like a 50 gigabyte database on that now, no longer a 10 gig limit, which
I continue to think about my fleet of production express instances with
always
highly sharded data on them. That
there's a very famous question on DBA.Stack Exchange where a gentleman wanted to have an Express edition with like 10,000 databases, and he was running into problems because it was taking a very long time to start up, and there were a lot of very strange solutions added in as potential fixes for that, like starting up SQL Server with no databases attached and then attaching them in groups.
Start up 2 Express editions with 5,000.
I don't even think 5,000 is a good number for that. I think there's a lot of bad
5,000 Express editions with 2 databases each. Hey, look, with AI, scripting all of your stupid ideas is now possible. Will it work?
Yeah.
No.
The sky is the limit.
Work anyway? Absolutely not.
No, I'd say, I don't know, maybe the sky isn't the limit. Maybe the ground is still the limit. Like the real limit is always 0.
Well,
so I thought that was a fun one, but I don't know. I have strange ideas about what's fun these days.
Yeah, me too. I'm really into static websites. I'm really just into text files more and more. Yeah. I'm just really into text files.
Wave of the future, as far as I'm concerned. And all your website tinkering makes me want to tinker with my website, because like, I don't know, I've like never been happy with my website. Like I've been over the years I've made changes where I was like, okay, this is an improvement, but like as a whole I've always been like, man, I don't want this thing. I want something else. Like why is it all so hard? Like why does this look that way? Why come when I move this thing 50 other things moved in the wrong direction? And like, why is this a new block now? Like WordPress just very, I don't know, has always messed me up terribly. So like I think maybe I'll use AI to like figure out if I could migrate my website from WordPress to something else. Maybe I'll use Kendra.ai.
Maybe we can show you the way. I was talking to Jeremiah the other day, my husband, for folks who have not listened to past episodes. And I was describing like a workflow that I'm developing where like to do a newsletter, I can create a text file with the newsletter stuff that I want in it. And then I have a Python script that'll talk to the API of the newsletter API thing and automatically set it up, use the template, do all this stuff, verify, and I can preview and everything. He said, you're becoming a programmer. I was like, no, I just love text files.
Yeah.
I just want everything to work off a text file. Yeah. And I love me a pull request. I love me a workflow where I can preview things in a branch, make sure it works before I merge into main. So I like text files and I like source control. And I like websites where I can work with them in that way. And I like SQL code where I can work with it in that way too. So
yeah, I mean, there is a lot of upside to things working off a text file. As long as you don't have to like generate or maintain your own JSON, I think you're good, because that's really where things fall apart for me.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about YAML though.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that here.
It's done. We started getting into the ugly parts of life.
This is a family-friendly place, Kendra. We don't talk about YAML here.
Yeah, we don't. Well, thank you for joining me to chat today about things. Who would have predicted that I would be like, let's do a podcast and I want to talk about how much I love Resource Governor and Standard Edition in SQL Server, but
and text files.
And text files. That's where life has brought me, and I'm glad that you feel similarly.
You are dangerously close to just writing your own database at this point.
Oh man! So like early in my career, there was
it'll be a zip file.
Oh my gosh! There was a development team I was working with, and one of the developers was just like, we should just write our own storage engine. And at that point, I was like, I've got to go now, and I was like, we're done. Like, no.
Yeah, no, I've talked to people who also think that's a good idea, and you're just always like, you know what? Like, I have no doubt that you could do that, and it would probably be okay, but I don't want any part of this.
I have already witnessed how much work it is for a lot of really smart people to maintain a storage engine that other really smart people wrote. That's not a small pet to take on. No, that's not a house plant.
No, that's like, and like even just like not even forget like your own storage engine. Like, you ever seen those like code exercises that are like write your own file system, and you're like, no, I don't want to. I like permissions, locked file. No, I'm not doing that.
No, not today.
Nope, not any day.
Not this lifetime. Maybe another one.
Perhaps that's something that, like, you would have to be one of those like 7-year-olds who's really good at coding to get into that sort of thing. But I don't.
If we want to do this, we need to find a 7-year-old. The only person with enough optimism, hope for the future, and naivete to take this project on and be successful.
Yeah, and also enough years ahead of them.
They're gonna need all of that lifespan.
Yeah, about 80 years, you'll be good.
All right. Well, where do people find you on the internet, Erik?
Oh, you can find what is the website that I hate's name? ErikDarling.com. I've got various social medias like YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and Blue Sky. So you can find me pretty much anywhere that you show up and drink and say embarrassing things.
And you can find me on KendraLittle.com because I finally obtained the URL that is my first name and then my last name. I no longer have to be last name, first name.
No more little Kendra.
I obtained KendraLittle.com. I have achieved all of my dreams.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm pretty excited. So, all right, y'all, have a good one and see you on another episode of Dear SQL DBA.